Fierest Kuon-Taki Dijuon and Wrong. The Naveri exploration vessel Celestial Seeker drifted silently through the outer reaches of Sol system, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to the primitive scanning systems of the third planet. Commander Azrael stood on the bridge, his four violet eyes narrowed as he studied the holographic display of Earth. Analysis complete, Commander. Science Officer Valera announced, her slender fingers dancing across the control interface. The dominant species has achieved industrial civilization, possesses basic spacefaring capabilities limited to their local system, and has developed rudimentary digital technology. Threat assessment: minimal. Azrael nodded, his scaled skin reflecting the blue light of the display. The Naveri exploratory fleet had catalogued thousands of worlds across the galaxy, and Earth seemed unremarkable, just another developing civilization centuries away from true interstellar capability. Their water vessels are particularly interesting, Tactical Officer Nurin observed, zooming the display to focus on Earth's oceans. They still rely heavily on maritime transportation despite having achieved aerial technology. Curious. Azrael leaned forward, examining the massive vessels crossing Earth's oceans. Those are remarkably large for a pre-interstellar species. What purpose do these serve? Resource transportation, most likely, Valera suggested. Though some appear to have unusual configurations, perhaps ceremonial or governmental functions. Azrael wasn't convinced. Send a reconnaissance drone for closer observation. Standard protocol, passive scans only. Deploying drone, Nurin confirmed, initiating the launch sequence. The drone detached from Celestial Seeker, a sleek teardrop-shaped craft barely larger than a human hand. Its propulsion system, utilizing quantum displacement rather than conventional thrust, left no heat signature as it accelerated toward Earth. In the 3,000 years of Naveri exploration, no pre-interstellar civilization had ever detected their reconnaissance drones. Earth would be different. The drone descended through Earth's atmosphere, its adaptive shielding dispersing the friction heat that would otherwise have announced its arrival. It approached a massive vessel in the Pacific Ocean, a flat-topped behemoth of metal surrounded by smaller craft. Curious design, Valera murmured, watching the drone's feed. The flat surface appears designed for aerial craft landing and takeoff, but the vessel itself remains waterbound. Inefficient. Scan for weapon systems, Azrael ordered, something about the vessel triggering his instincts. Scanning. Nurin confirmed. Commander, I'm detecting multiple. An alarm blared through the Naveri bridge, its pitch rising urgently. The drone is being targeted. Nurin shouted, his usual composure fracturing. Earth vessels are using active sensor systems. They've detected our drone. Impossible, Valera whispered. Their technology shouldn't be capable. Evasive maneuvers. Azrael commanded. Recall the drone immediately. On Earth, aboard the U.S. Intrepid, radar specialist Monica Chen stared at her screen in disbelief. Captain, unidentified aerial object above us. It's small, maybe the size of a softball, but Sir, it's moving in patterns that defy our physics models. Captain James Harrison moved swiftly to her station. Origin: unknown, sir. It appeared from high altitude, but no satellite or aircraft deployment was detected. It's just there. Harrison's eyes narrowed. After 20 years in the Navy, he recognized a reconnaissance mission when he saw one. Alert Fighter Squadron. I want visual confirmation. Fighter Squadron launching, Captain. The tactical officer confirmed. Within minutes, 2 F-35 fighters roared from the Intrepid's deck, accelerating toward the drone's position. Unidentified object, dead ahead. The lead pilot reported. Sir, this thing is moving like nothing I've ever seen. Requesting permission to engage. Harrison hesitated only briefly. Permission granted. Consider it hostile until proven otherwise. The lead F-35 locked onto the drone and fired a missile. The Neveri drone detected the threat and executed evasive maneuvers that would have outpaced any Earth aircraft. But the missile was proximity-fused, designed to detonate near stealth targets. Aboard the Celestial Seeker, the bridge erupted in chaos as the drone's signal terminated. "Drone destroyed," Niren reported, disbelief evident in his voice. "A directed projectile weapon with tracking capabilities. They anticipated our evasion patterns." Azrael stood frozen, processing the implications. No pre-interstellar civilization had ever neutralized Neveri technology. It violated everything they understood about technological progression. "Full analysis of their weapons system," he ordered, his voice unnaturally calm. "And prepare a comprehensive report for the High Council. We may need to reassess our classification of Earth." Valera worked frantically at her station. "Commander, I've analyzed their communication signals following the drone's destruction. They're mobilizing. Their military forces are coordinating globally." "Show me," Azrael demanded. The holographic display shifted to show multiple oceans of Earth. Massive vessels were changing course, forming defensive patterns. Aircraft were launching from land bases and the floating platforms. Orbital satellites were adjusting positions. "They're preparing for war," Niren observed quietly. "Against what?" Valera questioned. "They destroyed a drone. They have no evidence of our ship." "That's what concerns me," Azrael replied, his eyes fixed on the display. "They destroyed an unknown object without hesitation, and now they're preparing to fight an enemy they cannot see." He turned to face his officers, his expression grave. "We've encountered countless species across the galaxy. The cautious ones hide when they detect something they don't understand. The diplomatic ones attempt communication. But these humans—" Azrael gestured to the display showing Earth's military mobilization. "They attack what they don't understand, and then prepare to fight whatever might come next, without fear." "What are your orders, Commander?" Niren asked. Azrael studied Earth for a long moment. "Maintain distance. Keep observing. The High Council must be informed that we've discovered something unprecedented, a pre-interstellar species with the instincts of an apex predator and the confidence of a galactic power." On Earth, Captain Harrison stood in the secure communications room of the Intrepid, facing a screen filled with the grim faces of military leaders from around the world. "The object was definitely artificial," Harrison reported. "Small, maneuverable beyond our current capabilities, and operating under active camouflage. We recovered fragments after interception, and preliminary analysis confirms non-terrestrial origin." "Any communication attempts?" General Lin of the Chinese Space Forces asked. "Negative. It appeared to be conducting reconnaissance." Admiral Chowdhury of the Indian Navy leaned forward. "The question is, reconnaissance for what? And more importantly, where is the main vessel?" NASA's Director Powell cleared her throat. "We've reoriented all available space telescopes and detection systems. If there's anything larger out there, we'll find it. Assume we're being watched," the U.S. Joint Chiefs Representative ordered. "All naval battle groups maintain heightened alert status. Space Command, continue sweeping for unusual signals or objects. We need to locate their main vessel." Harrison nodded grimly. "And if we find it, sir?" The Joint Chiefs Representative met his gaze through the screen. "Then we show them that humanity isn't as defenseless as they might think." As the meeting ended, Harrison returned to the bridge of the Intrepid. Night had fallen, and he stared up at the stars, wondering which one concealed the watchers. "What are your orders, Captain?" his XO asked quietly. Harrison's jaw tightened. "Prepare for combat operations. Whatever's out there came looking for information. Let's make sure they understand exactly what they found." In the darkness of space, the Celestial Seeker continued its silent observation, its commander now understanding that the Neveri exploratory fleet had made a grave miscalculation. Earth wasn't just another developing world. It was something far more dangerous. The silent standoff. The Neveri High Council's projection, shimmered in the celestial seeker's communication chamber. 7 imposing figures seated in a semicircle. Their expressions conveyed the gravity of the situation even across 20 light years. "You're certain the humans detected and destroyed our drone deliberately?" High Counselor Viridian asked, her luminescent eyes narrowed in disbelief. "Absolutely certain, Counselor," Commander Azarel confirmed. "They tracked it with precision, deployed countermeasures adapted to its evasion patterns, and are now actively searching for our ship." "Impossible," Counselor Therix muttered. "Their technological development doesn't support such capabilities." Science Officer Valera stepped forward. "With respect, Counselor, we've discovered anomalies in their developmental pattern. While their space technology remains primitive, their military systems are extraordinarily advanced, particularly in detection, targeting, and weapons design." She displayed a holographic model of Earth's defense systems. "They've created a globally integrated network of satellites, radar systems, and computing nodes that function cohesively despite having no unified world government. Their naval vessels possess energy output signatures comparable to our early interstellar ships." "What are you suggesting, Science Officer?" Viridian asked. "That humans have prioritized military technology above all else. Their development hasn't followed the standard progression we've observed in other species. They've constructed weapons of remarkable sophistication while still burning fossil fuels for energy." Tactical Officer Nurin joined the conversation. "Their behavior pattern is equally concerning. Upon destroying our drone, they didn't retreat or hide. They mobilized globally, coordinating defensive operations across traditional geopolitical boundaries." "They're hunting you," Counselor Zenith observed. "Yes," Azarel confirmed. "And what troubles me most is that they're doing so without confirmation of our existence. They shot down something they didn't understand, and instead of fear, they responded with aggression." The council members exchanged troubled glances. "Your recommendations, Commander?" Viridian asked. "We have 3 options," Azarel replied. "Withdraw completely and quarantine the system, attempt diplomatic contact, or conduct a show of force to assess their full capabilities." "Withdrawal seems prudent," Counselor Therix suggested. "I disagree," Azarel countered. "If humans continue their current developmental trajectory, they'll achieve interstellar capability within a century. Given their unusual aggression and technological focus, we should understand them better before they expand beyond their system." The council deliberated silently through their shared neural network, a discussion spanning milliseconds that would have taken hours with verbal communication. "Proceed with diplomatic contact," Viridian finally ordered, "but approach with caution. If they respond with hostility, you are authorized to demonstrate superior force, non-lethal only. We need to understand what we're dealing with." "Understood, High Council," Azarel acknowledged as the projection faded. He turned to his officers. "Prepare a communication probe. Standard first contact protocols." As the Celestial Seeker prepared its diplomatic overture, Earth's combined military forces were executing the largest coordinated operation in human history. Operation Watchful Eye had transformed Earth's orbit into a detection grid of unprecedented sensitivity. In the Pentagon's newly established Extraterrestrial Threat Response Center, General Diana Rodriguez examined the latest satellite data. "Still nothing," she muttered, frustration evident in her voice. "They're either gone or hiding extremely well." NASA Administrator Powell shook his head. "They're still here. The gravitational anomalies near Lagrange Point 2 suggest a large mass that our optical systems can't detect. Whatever their cloaking technology, it can't hide their gravitational footprint. Then we need to force them to reveal themselves," Russian Space Forces Commander Petrov suggested. "Perhaps a demonstration of our detection capabilities." "I have a better idea," Rodriguez replied. "If they're hiding at L2, let's deploy the new L2 monitoring satellite with the quantum radar prototype. If it works as designed, it might penetrate their cloaking. And if they perceive that as aggressive," European Space Agency Director Mueller asked, Then we learned something valuable about their intentions, Rodriguez answered. Better to know now than when they decide to make their move. The decision was quickly approved through emergency channels, bypassing the usual international bureaucracy. Within hours, a Delta IV heavy rocket thundered into the sky from Cape Canaveral, carrying the experimental satellite toward Lagrange Point 2. Aboard the Celestial Seeker, alarms blared. Earth has launched a spacecraft, Nuren reported. Trajectory indicates L2 as its destination, directly toward our position. Coincidence? Valera wondered. Unlikely, Azarel replied grimly. Analysis of its design. Nuren examined the incoming craft. Small satellite platform, minimal propulsion. But it's carrying an unusual sensor array, something we haven't observed in their technology before. They've detected our gravitational signature, Valera realized. They can't see us, but they know something's here. Azarel's mandibles clicked in thought. Deploy the communication probe. Time it to intersect with their satellite. Let's see how they respond to direct contact. The Neveri communication probe, a golden sphere inscribed with mathematical constants universal to all technological civilizations, detached from the Celestial Seeker and accelerated toward the approaching Earth satellite. In mission control, technicians monitoring the L2 satellite deployment suddenly shouted in alarm. Contact. Unknown object approaching the satellite at high velocity. Rodriguez leaned forward. Evasive maneuvers. No time, the flight director responded. Impact in 3, 2, 1. The expected destruction didn't come. Instead, the satellite's cameras captured extraordinary footage, a golden sphere holding position 10 meters from the satellite, pulsing with soft light. It's not attacking, the flight director said uncertainly. No, Powell whispered, understanding dawning. It's making contact. The sphere began projecting a series of mathematical sequences, prime numbers, the value of pi, the golden ratio, universal constants that transcended language barriers. Classic SETI First Contact Protocol, Powell explained. They're establishing basic communication, or distracting us while they position for an attack, Rodriguez countered. She turned to her communications officer. What's the status of the quantum radar? Online and functional, General. Scanning now. The quantum radar, designed to detect objects by their quantum disturbance rather than conventional reflection, activated. Its findings stunned everyone in the control room. Massive object detected at L2, the radar operator reported, voice quavering. It's at least 500 meters in length. Artificial structure, unknown configuration. The screen displayed a ghostly outline of the Celestial Seeker, its elegant organic curves unlike any human spacecraft. My God, Powell breathed. Rodriguez's expression hardened. Target acquired. Deploy the L2 defense platform. General, Powell protested. They're attempting communication. After sneaking into our system and conducting covert surveillance, Rodriguez countered. This isn't a scientific expedition, Director. This is military reconnaissance, and we're responding accordingly. In orbit around Earth, a previously hidden satellite activated, revealing itself to be a weapons platform. It oriented toward the Celestial Seeker and fired, not a conventional missile, but a concentrated electromagnetic pulse designed to disable electronic systems. Aboard the Celestial Seeker, systems flickered as the EMP struck their shields. Electromagnetic attack, Nuren reported. Shields holding, but they've revealed a previously undetected weapons platform in near-Earth orbit. They had a cloaked weapons system, Valera gasped. How did we miss that? Because we underestimated them, Azarel replied, his voice tight with controlled anger. Again. He straightened. Decision made. Disable their weapons platform. Non-lethal, as ordered, but demonstrate our technological superiority. The Celestial Seeker shimmered, partially decloaking as it redirected power to weapon systems. A pulse of concentrated energy streaked across space, striking the Earth weapons platform with surgical precision. The platform went dark, tumbling uselessly in orbit. Earth defensive systems are mobilizing, Niren reported. Multiple weapons locking onto our position. Full defensive posture, Azrael ordered, but maintain non-lethal protocols. The High Council wants information, not war. As the Celestial Seeker prepared for Earth's response, military leaders around the world watched in growing alarm as their first line of defense was neutralized with ease. They could have destroyed it completely, Powell observed. Instead, they precisely disable it. That's deliberate restraint. Or they're testing our capabilities before committing to full engagement, Rodriguez argued. Either way, we need to respond. In orbit around Earth, missile batteries oriented toward L2. On the oceans, aircraft carriers launched fighters armed with experimental space-capable missiles. From ground installations, advanced laser systems powered up. The silent standoff had escalated to the brink of war. Humanity unbound. Commander Azrael watched the holographic display with growing concern as Earth's military assets oriented toward the Celestial Seeker. Their response was coordinated, decisive, and entirely disproportionate to the Neveri's measured demonstration. They're deploying everything they have, Tactical Officer Niren reported, his voice tight. Missile systems, directed energy weapons, fighter craft with upper atmosphere capability. They're committing to full-scale engagement. After we deliberately spared their weapons platform, Valara added, disbelief evident in her tone. This species doesn't understand proportional response. Azrael's 4 eyes narrowed as he analyzed the situation. No, science officer. I believe they understand perfectly. They're not responding to what we did. They're responding to what we could do. He gestured to the display. Look at their deployment pattern. They're not just defending against our current position. They're establishing a multi-layered defense grid covering all approach vectors to their planet. They're preparing for the possibility that we're not alone. Remarkable strategic foresight for a pre-interstellar species, Niren acknowledged grudgingly. We need to de-escalate, Azrael decided. Activate the translation matrix. Direct broadcast on their primary communication frequencies. It's time we spoke directly. On Earth, in command centers across the planet, communication officers reported simultaneous intrusion across all military frequencies. We are the Neveri Exploratory Fleet, a synthesized voice announced in perfect English, repeated in Russian, Mandarin, Arabic, Spanish, and dozens of other languages. We come in peace. We regret the misunderstanding that has led to this confrontation. We wish to establish diplomatic communication. In the Pentagon's command center, General Rodriguez exchanged glances with world leaders on the emergency conference screen. Could be a stalling tactic, she suggested, or a genuine attempt at diplomacy, UN Secretary-General Okafor countered. We should at least hear them out. After brief deliberation, authority to respond was granted to Secretary-General Okafor as a neutral representative of humanity. This is United Nations Secretary-General Okafor speaking on behalf of Earth, she broadcast. Your actions, covert surveillance and technology that disable our defense systems, contradict your claim of peaceful intentions. Before diplomatic relations can be considered, we require transparency about your purpose in our system. Aboard the Celestial Seeker, Azrael nodded appreciatively at the human response. Direct, cautious, but not rejecting communication outright. Perhaps there's hope for dialogue after all. He composed his reply carefully. We are an exploratory vessel cataloging developing civilizations. Our standard protocol is passive observation to prevent cultural contamination. The destruction of our reconnaissance drone necessitated reassessment of your technological capabilities, which exceed our initial classification of your species. We regret the escalation and seek peaceful resolution. The transmission reached Earth, where leaders debated the response. They've admitted to spying on us, the Russian president noted, but their explanation is consistent with scientific exploration. The question is whether we believe them, the Chinese premier responded, and whether their peaceful resolution includes leaving our system. Secretary-General Okafor leaned forward, I propose a direct demonstration of our resolve, followed by conditional diplomatic engagement. We show them we cannot be intimidated, then negotiate from strength. The plan was quickly approved. Earth's response would be bold, unprecedented, and quintessentially human. On the Celestial Seekers Bridge, tension mounted as they awaited Earth's reply. Energy spike detected. Niran suddenly shouted. Multiple launched signatures from Earth. Defensive systems at maximum. Azarel ordered, watching as dozens of missiles streaked from Earth toward their position. Calculating intercept trajectories, the defense officer reported. Our point defense systems can neutralize all incoming. Wait, anomaly detected. The missiles, instead of continuing toward the Celestial Seeker, detonated in formation, creating a spectacular geometric pattern of explosions visible across the solar system. A hexagon with a circle inside, the universal symbol for sentient life. It's a message, Valera realized, a demonstration of precision, power, and symbolic communication simultaneously. Before Azarel could respond, a new transmission arrived from Earth. The Nevari Exploratory Fleet is invited to send representatives to Earth for preliminary diplomatic discussions. To demonstrate our commitment to peaceful dialogue, we will suspend further military action unless provoked. However, be advised that our defensive posture remains active. As a gesture of trust, we request you to cloak your vessel fully during approach. Azarel contemplated the invitation. It was bold, direct, and left no room for misinterpretation, much like the species that had issued it. Your assessment, officers, he asked. It could be a trap, Niran suggested. Lure us closer, then strike. If they wanted to attack, those missiles could have contained nuclear warheads, Valera countered. This was a calculated demonstration. Impressive control, minimal actual threat. I believe the invitation is genuine. Azarel made his decision. Prepare a diplomatic shuttle. I will lead the delegation personally. Commander, Niran protested. Protocol requires. Protocol failed us the moment we underestimated this species, Azarel interrupted. The High Council needs accurate information about humanity, and I intend to obtain it firsthand. Hours later, a Nevari shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere, fully visible, escorted by fighter jets from multiple nations. It landed at a specially prepared facility in neutral Switzerland, where representatives from every major Earth power awaited. Commander Azarel emerged from the shuttle with 2 officers, his tall, scaled form and 4 violet eyes causing a ripple of murmurs among the assembled humans. He approached the waiting delegation and performed the Nevari gesture of respect. Right hand pressed to his chest, head slightly bowed. I bring greetings from the Nevari Collective, he stated, his translator converting his harmonic speech to human language. I am Commander Azarel of the Exploratory Fleet. Secretary General Okafor stepped forward. Welcome to Earth, Commander. We are prepared to establish diplomatic relations, but first, we require honesty. Why did you really come to our system? Azarel considered his response carefully. The truth might be uncomfortable, but after witnessing human capabilities, deception seemed unwise. We came to evaluate whether humanity represents a potential threat to galactic stability, he admitted. Our surveys catalog developing civilizations and assess their trajectory. Species that develop interstellar travel typically follow predictable patterns, unifying their planet before reaching for the stars, balancing technological advancement across multiple domains, approaching the unknown with caution. He gestured around him. Humanity defies these patterns. You remain politically divided, yet capable of coordinated global action. Your military technology outpaces your energy production methods. And most concerning, you confront the unknown with immediate force rather than observation. The human delegates exchanged glances. And your conclusion? General Rodriguez asked bluntly. Is being reevaluated constantly, Azarel replied. Initially, we considered humanity potentially dangerous, a species that might bring conflict to the stars. But your response today demonstrates sophistication beyond mere aggression. You displayed power, restraint, and symbolic communication simultaneously. This suggests complexity we fail to appreciate. So where does that leave us? The Chinese premier inquired. At the beginning, Azarel answered. The Navari Collective contains thousands of species, each with unique perspectives and contributions. If humanity is willing, we propose formal diplomatic relations, cultural exchange, and limited technological cooperation. Limited, the Russian president noted. Yes, Azarel confirmed. Complete technological integration would be premature, but specific exchanges in non-military domains could benefit both our peoples while building trust. The human delegates conferred briefly before Secretary General Okafor responded. We accept these terms with conditions. All Navari vessels must register their presence in our system. No surveillance without prior notification. And any future technological or cultural exchange must be equitable. We will not become a client species. Azarel's mandibles clicked in what humans would later learn was a sign of respect. Agreed. You negotiate as equals despite our technological advantage. This confirms our revised assessment, which is, Rodriguez pressed, that humanity is neither the primitive species we initially catalogued, nor the unrestrained threat we briefly feared. Azarel explained. You are something rarer, a young species with the confidence of an ancient one. Your development has been unconventional, but perhaps that uniqueness will serve the galaxy well. As the formal negotiations began, Azarel sent a private message to the High Council. Recommendation: reclassify Earth as Category 7, Emergent Major Power. Humanity will reach the stars sooner than projected, and when they do, the galaxy will never be the same. On the shores of Lake Geneva, human and alien representatives began the careful process of building diplomatic bridges between worlds. The path ahead would be complex, filled with misunderstandings and breakthroughs in equal measure. But the first and most important step had been taken: recognition of each other's strength, and respect born not from fear, but from earned admiration. Humanity had announced its presence to the galaxy not with humble gratitude for being discovered, but with the confident declaration of a species that knew its worth, and the stars would never look quite the same again. The end.